Hey, true believers, Chris Mack coming at you with yet again another absolutely beautiful figure review. Today we are going over the DC Collectibles Designer Series, Greg Capullo Red Hood. And I'm so happy to finally have this figure in my collection. This is from Scott Snyder's Year Zero story, which we'll get into here in a minute. Now, if you guys want to pick this up, sadly the collectibles line has been canceled, which breaks my heart because they had some really awesome stuff coming out of there. So if you want to get this, first and foremost, check with your local comic shop, see if they have it in stock or if anybody had traded it in and they have it in hand. So that's an option, or the secondary market, or go the route that I did, which my buddy Isaac helped me get this, which thank you so much, buddy. You are awesome. Him and I are part of online collectible groups, and what they do is they do auctions or claims, and yeah, I won this one, so thank you so much, bro. It's awesome. If you want to check them out, they're on Facebook. The pages are called Page and Misfit Toys, anything collectible and pop culture live, and lots of cool stuff there. I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. Love the packaging here. Love the little bats in between here. I think that just really helps enhance the piece. And of course, all the transparency in the background of the figure that you can see there. And then of course, the bat. Kind of see Designer Series, Greg Capullo, come around, Red Hood, number 5. Love that wraparound, just looks really great. You come around here to the back, you see the figures from the wave that you can get, so I'll make sure to get close up so you can pause it at your convenience, see which ones you want to get. Come back around to this side, and it's hard to see in the light, but you get a really cool sketch of Greg Capullo's Red Hood there, which looks really, really awesome. I love it. And you get that red Batman. On the front, there's the figure. On the bottom, legal mumbo jumbo. Who cares? But what we do care about is this Red Hood an awesome figure or not. So let's crack this bad boy open and get a closer look at him. Here's Red Hood 1 out of the packaging. And I gotta say, just the initial looking at him, I love this figure. It looks exactly like he did in the Year Zero arc from Scott Snyder. And he just has that psychopathic look that just gives you the chills. There's some things to love about this figure. There's some things to hate. But that's with every figure that we go over. You know, there's always going to be some good and bad. But just on this initial look and just gushing at it, absolutely gorgeous. So let's get this guy off the stand and get a closer look at everything about him. Backstory on Red Hood 1 is his first appearance was Batman Volume 2, Number 0 from November 2012 with the Red Hood gang. We've done a review on it, so I'll make sure to leave a fancy little card up here for you guys to click at your convenience. All the number zeros during that time kind of alluded back to the Year Zero event that went on for a year during the New 52. And at that point, I didn't like it. Now it's had some time to, what do you want to say, just kind of grow on you. And it's an okay arc. You know, I enjoyed a lot of what Scott Snyder wrote during Batman. But that's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Now, he was kind of the main antagonist at the beginning of Zero Year, where Batman was first starting out and he was just Bruce Wayne. He hadn't donned the cape yet. And I believe it all comes to an end in Batman number 24, where the Red Hood is essentially finally defeated. So that's kind of his main background. Now, from one thing I don't understand, and I need to go back and read it because it's been a while, but they said that his name is Liam Distal, which, you know, it's an opposite of what was established in Grant Morrison's Killing Joke back in 1988, which was Jack Napier. So I don't know if they were trying to say that this was the Joker or this was what inspired Jack Napier. You know, if you know, let me know down in the comments. Now, for the accessories, let's go ahead and start with, he comes with one of his Red Hood gang helmets. That way you can kind of go between Red Hood 1 and then, you know, he always had like Red Hood 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. so forth. And each one is kind of cool. Now, to me, you know, the main Red Hood 1 looks metal. And you can kind of see that there's like cloth designs in the mask, but in the comic they look metal until they pull them off and it's cloth. So I'm glad that they gave those cloth little looks to it. I love all the little designs where the face is. And if it's cloth, how in the heck are these guys seeing through this? You know what I mean? So, you know, comics. But nonetheless, this head sculpt's cool. And I guess if you can find a bunch of these Red Hood 1 figures, which they are hard to find nowadays, you can army build. Or, you know, I don't know if you can find any other character that has this type of look, maybe like a John Wick figure or something. I don't know if the head peg would work. Now the heads are somewhat easy to swap out, but I don't want to do it on camera because it's always a pain and I always end up stumbling. What I suggest doing, and I always say this with every single one of my reviews, warm your characters up before you do anything. That way the joints get nice and loose. Same thing with the head. I always warm up the heads before I swap them out to kind of make the peg a little more durable. But, you know, to say la vie, to each their own. So yeah, that's a nice piece. Now, this one, in terms of design, this futuristic gun, that's a really cool design. I think it looks nice, but the problem is trying to get it in Red Hood's hand is a pain in the butt because his hands, as we'll see in a moment, are just kind of fumbling in terms of trying to put this gun in there. So this butt, trying to get the hand in there is real frustrating. But the grays, you know, like the two different variations, just really gives it that different world look. And I like the grip on the handle here. Just a nice design overall, but trying to put it in his hand, as I just said, is a pain in the butt. And then he comes with regular Glock. Now in the comics, all the guns that they did use were gray. So, you know, to kind of get this more darkish gray on each of them was a good idea though. You know, I like some silver in there. That's just me, but I like that the handle actually has, you know, the rivets. You can actually see where the chamber is. You see the hammer, you know, the trigger guard, the trigger itself, and you actually see where the chamber is. So that's a cool little design. I'm sure that's probably a 9mm or a 45. Let me know down in the comments which one this actually is. And I love this little minigun, this little mini machine gun. You see how the clips just hanging out there, all the little designs on the handles and whatnot. And, you know, it just looks very industrial, very much like if this gets pointed at you, you're going to probably pee your pants. You know what I'm saying? So this is a cool one to take photos with. Definitely my highly recommend in terms of the weapons that he comes with. And then the last thing that he comes with that I love is this pickaxe. This thing, you know, if you fell down and he is standing over you with this thing, you don't want to be in his crosshairs because, yeah, that's going to give you a headache and a half. And I like that it's just like nasty, you know what I mean? It's just straight up wood with this wrap around it. And then, you know, you can kind of see that it's had some action. So it's got wrap around the blade and it's actually pointy. So do be careful, you know, or if he flips it around and bashes you here, either way, it's going to hurt. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is probably my favorite one, but that's just me. Especially if you want to make him going up against somebody and have him just like straight up, hey, I ain't messing around. This is going to make you shiver a little bit. So those are all his accessories. I mean, that is so awesome that for a designer figure, they gave you that much. Now, for the paint apps, I love the dome. I think that thing is great. The one thing that I never understood, like, you know, when Grant Morrison did the Killing Joke, the hood went straight over the face. So I wonder what the design choice here was, leaving part of the mouth. I guess so you can see a little bit of expressions, because when he smiles, you see the dirty teeth in there, and you can see that, yeah, he's a very mad man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's cool. I like the skin tone here. It doesn't look too light. You know, they get enough kind of a color in there so you can get that. The teeth just straight up nasty, just like so good stuff. I love the suit. You know, they always show different villains where his suits are usually kind of the more psychotic ones. So yeah, it really adds to it. I like the ripples in the arms where it comes up to button up here. I like that tie. And I'm kind of glad that it doesn't flip out, because these, when they flip out like that, they always run the risk of breaking it. Like the buttons that they made sure to put there, white gloves, so very much kind of like an Alfred-esque look, which I guess you could use an Alfred figure if you wanted to figure army build. Just have to make sure that the pegs for the head fit. Legs, all the ruffles, so it doesn't just look like it was painted. It actually looks like fabric to an extent. And of course, you know, businessman shoes, you got the laces, all that good stuff. Has one peg there, and I'm glad that they put the legal stuff there on the bottom so it's not in your way. Back, again, I like all the ripples, so it just makes it look more organic. The jacket part is a light plastic, so you can kind of pull on it and kind of mess with it that way, so you can kind of at least get the articulation going on, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the paint apps overall for me, definitely a 10 out of a 10. Now the articulation is where it kind of starts to go off the rails for me, sadly. That's what I was talking about, like in terms of there's things to hate, because this is an older figure. So let's go ahead and start with the head. He can look down about that much and about that much up, which isn't too bad, but just like, come on. you get some attitude there, so you can kind of get some like tilting, like, hello, how are you doing, Grace? And you can twist it that way. Twist it that way. Arms do spin 360 on both sides. Single jointed elbows. Again, older figure. And then he does have an upper bicep swivel here, so at least there's that. The cuffs, the hands can spin 360, but they doesn't have the articulation there, so you're just kind of like, oh man. He does twist at the waist, so you got that. No ab crunch to speak of. And then this is one thing that really drives me nuts. So, you can at least spin the arms, and you got the elbow joint, but you can't move them up. As you can see, there's no joints here whatsoever. So you are stuck with that. There's no way to pull them without busting it, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of oh man, I'm glad that later down the road that they started to figure out that people want to be able to move this up for more natural poses. So come on, DC. Legs can go up that much that way, about that much that way. Yeah, single jointed knees. Whatever. And then there's no thigh cut, no boot cut. And he does have a little bit of play in the foot. Not any real pivot, but you can twist it this way, that way on both. So, and you can kind of go down about that much, and about up that much. Not a whole lot of articulation that way. So, yeah, the articulation on this figure is where it really starts to kill me, because I kind of feel like they could have done a better job. But nonetheless, because it's a beautiful piece and all the accessories, I forgive it. But I'm still going to have to give like a 4 out of 10 on the articulation. Now here's Red Hood next to the DC designers Greg Capullo, Jim Gordon. Here's the McFarlane Toys Arkham Asylum Joker. And then here's the DC Collectibles Jim Lee Cell Shaded series. Whew, try to say that 3 times fast. And as you can see, for the most part, they scale somewhat well together. Gordon's kind of the tiny one in the bunch. I think these stand somewhere around 6 to 6.5 inches. Gordon. Joker is somewhere around 7. I don't measure because I don't want to start breaking out the tape measure. Just not my cup of tea. But as you can see, Red Hood and Joker, because of his hood and because of that, they scale relatively well together. And then the same thing with the cell-shaded Batman. So those 3 at least work out. Gordon, as I just said, is kind of the more tiny one. I wish they would have made him just a little bit bigger. But when you're doing action figure photography and you start messing with depth of field and framing, it's not going to matter because you're going to get up close and it's going to look great. And if you're going to put them on a shelf, as long as you kind of know how to tastefully pose them, then it's not going to be a big deal. I suggest that all these characters will look great on your display shelf or in your display case. So I highly recommend picking up all 4 of these. This Red Hood one, man, I wasn't sure about it when I first saw it, but now that as I said, that I have it, it's just an awesome piece. Now, for these 4 figures, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Overall, I think this is an absolutely amazing figure. I feel like the Collectibles line really did a wonderful job capturing the essence of this psychotic character. And then, for a Collectibles line figure, I think they did a great job in giving it all this multiple accessories, because that's one thing that a lot of fans howl for is accessories, so we can do different poses or different photography shots with props. And yeah, this guy has them all. The only thing that kills me with this one is the articulation, which it is an older figure, so that's kind of, it is what it is in that sense. But nonetheless, after you've had these newer figures from the Marvel Legends line and the McFarlane line, and the latter half of the DC Collectibles where they got more articulated, it's just sort of like, man, I wish that this would have been on that time frame, because yeah, not being able to lift his hands up and his arms up, that's really frustrating. But I know some of these earlier ones are just to put on your shelf. So, being a action figure photographer, it's just kind of like, oh, come on, I want that extra range. So yeah, that's the only thing that I can ding on this figure. Other than that, I love the 2 head sculpts, love the accessories, love the way the suit looks. It just adds to the madness of Red Hood 1 and his gang. And so that to me is just, that's the review in a nutshell. Beautiful figure with doable articulation. So if you guys have enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost, check with your local comic shop and see if someone's maybe traded one in, because as I've said, the DC Collectibles line is gone, and that breaks my heart. But nonetheless, McFarlane is really starting to step up his game and making some really cool figures. And if you all have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little red hood bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all and hearing your feedback down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.